I'm not only hopeful about the future, which I think we're morally and spiritually required to be. Hope is a virtue, it's a theological virtue. And I am hopeful, but I'm not only hopeful, I'm actually optimistic. Now, you're not required to be optimistic, and I am not always optimistic about things. But I am optimistic as well as hopeful when I see the outstanding young people who are now stepping to the fore in our public life, especially some of the young public intellectuals in their 30s and early 40s. I'm proud to say that a number of them are my former students. Ryan Anderson, who's now the president of the Ethics and Public Policy Center, Melissa Moskella, who's a professor of philosophy at the Catholic University of America and also becoming a very prominent public intellectual, Daniel Mark, professor of political science at Villanova University, another one of my students, Anna Samuel, the founder and director of the Canavox pro-marriage program, headquartered actually right where we're sitting for this interview at the Witherspoon Institute in Princeton, New Jersey, also becoming a prominent public intellectual. Rabbi Meir Soloveichik, one of my star graduate students, who I think now is really the premier public intellectual in the Orthodox Jewish community, and really even more broadly in the Jewish community today. So many of my former students are really distinguishing themselves in our public intellectual life, and they're distinguishing themselves not only by their brilliance, which is undeniable, but by their bravery, their courage. These are people who boldly speak up for the sanctity of human life in all stages and conditions, for marriage as the conjugal union of husband and wife, and for the family, for religious liberty and the rights of conscience. These are stands that it's difficult to take today in our current so-called woke environment. These subject you to the vicissitudes of cancel culture, and yet these young men and women in their 30s and their 40s are standing up and speaking out boldly and bravely. Some are Jewish, some are Christian. Have some that don't fit neatly into religious categories, but nevertheless, there they are speaking out. And there are others that I greatly admire who I did not have the privilege of having as students. Yuval Levin of the American Enterprise Institute. What an extraordinary young public intellectual, probably at this point in his early to mid 40s. He is just a brilliant spokesman for the most important causes. I got to know him when I was serving under the great Dr. Leon Kass on the President's Council on Bioethics, and Dr. Kass, as chairman, brought Yuval and another young scholar, Eric Cohen, aboard as young staffers for the commission, and I've watched the two of them become such bold and brilliant, impressive, effective public intellectuals. So when I look out there, I say, gosh, this generation, it's really better than my generation. These young people, in more difficult circumstances than my generation faced, are really proving to be heroes. So it's very uplifting for me and very encouraging for me. I'm just proud to have had the opportunity to teach and interact with so many of them.